The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
Hezekiah, it is I, Isaiah, son of Amos. Thus saith the Lord, set your house in order, for you shall die and not live.
Remember now, O Lord, I pray, how I have walked before you in truth and with a loyal heart, and have done what is good in your sight.
Hezekiah, I have returned. As I went outside into the court, the Lord spoke to me, and he said, I have heard thy prayer. I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal you. On the third day, you shall go up into the house of the Lord, and I will add 15 years to your life. And I will deliver you and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria. And he said that he will defend this city for his sake and for his servant David's sake. Now, take some of these fig leaves and lay them on your boils.
What is the sign that the Lord will heal me, and that I shall go up to the house of the Lord on the third day?
Do you want the shadow on the sundial to go back 10 degrees or forward 10 degrees?
Is it an easy thing for the shadow to go down 10 degrees? No, but let the shadow go backward 10 degrees.
Father, you have heard him. Return the sundial 10 degrees.
In Isaiah chapter 38 and 39, we step into two pivotal moments in King Hezekiah's life. First, we see his desperate prayer for healing answered by God with mercy and extended years, a powerful reminder of God's compassion and the power of prayer. But soon after, Hezekiah falters, proudly displaying his treasures to Babylon, setting the stage for future judgment. These chapters capture the tension between humility and pride, gratitude and carelessness, showing us how quickly our hearts can shift when blessings turn into boasting. It's a story that challenges us to live with gratitude, wisdom, and foresight. As always, be blessed and enjoy.
All right, welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay.
Earl Roberts, and we are clearly joined by the illustrious Dominic McFall. You know what I'm saying? The Mr. Triple Hello. You know, you gotta do it for the one
Hello,
time.
hello.
Exactly.
Hello.
Oh my, how you been, man?
We've been right here trying to, survive day to day, live life. Thank God we still living.
Some like them old people on the island.
Oh, right here holding on.
just holding on.
Oh my, but God is good though. God is good. Hi guys, how you been? How was your week?
Yeah, I complain, bro. I tired, but I'm glad the week has come. My bad. Yeah. Had a long week at work. Still getting used to my little baby. 7 weeks now. Wait, actually 8 weeks by the time y'all hear this. And so yeah, bro, that's my
2
story.
months.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That is wild.
What about you, man?
But week's actually been pretty chill. Like this was like the chillest week. I mean, outside of today that I've had at work in a very long time. I mean, that ain't gonna last too long. So next week already packed. But
Hmm.
it was actually like a peaceful week. It was good. Like I don't know, like ever since I come back from Dubai, like some sun to get in my lungs and it's just being like have this stupid lingering cough that don't want to go away and it's so annoying. And it's like the cough is coming at random times, so like I just get a random coughing fit. Like, and don't get me laughing. I laugh and it's like my chest want to explode, my head start hurting. There's be a lot going on.
Boy, oh boy, you take some Dubai with you as a souvenir.
But the funny part is like I ain't sick, right? But it's like I know. But shoot, all God is good, man. God is good. Life is going good.
Yeah.
So can't
Amen.
complain. Can't complain. All right. Did we actually want to get into Proverbs this week? I feel like we've been pushing it off like a couple of weeks now.
I gotta say, if we don't, bro, who knows when we can get the Proverbs?
All right. So was it Proverbs like 23?
24, 8. Oh man, I think it's 24. That's my vote.
Hold on. I got it written down. Give me a second. You know, I should have this pulled up ahead of time, but you know, life happens.
Yeah, I know we do 22 for
Always does.
sure. Let me see.
I think the last thing we do was the 23rd Psalm, so I think it got to be Proverbs 23.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah, this don't seem like I don't remember doing it. Proverbs 23.
Yes, Proverbs 23. Perfect.
All right.
All right, so let's do this. All right. Ooh.
Proverbs 24, Justice Law.
Woo, I see why we put this off a little while.
Hey, both Justice Law.
All right, so let's do this. Proverbs 23. When you sit down to eat with a ruler, consider carefully what is before you, and put a knife to your throat. If you are a man given to appetite, do not desire his delicacies, for they are deceptive food. Do not overwork to be rich, because of your own understanding cease. Will you set your eyes on that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away like an eagle toward heaven. Do not eat the bread of a miser, nor desire his delicacies.
I agree with that for sure.
What? Oh.
I agree with that for sure.
Mhm.
For as he thinks in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you. The morsel you have eaten, you will vomit up and waste your pleasant words. Do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words. Mercy. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Do not remove the ancient landmark, nor enter the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is mighty. He will plead their cause against you. Apply your heart to instruction and your ears to words of knowledge. Do not withhold correction from a child, for if you beat him with a rod, he will not die. My parents take that one literally.
I don't know, but it's funny because I don't see how else you could take that, bro. Like, oh man, I like I take with that this text in particular, bro. Because when they say spare the rod, spoil the child, some people say, oh, that's a metaphor, and the rod is like what they use for sheeps in terms of their reaction and stuff. But this one right here,
Solomon, come back.
yeah, I like no, don't get it misconstrued.
It's clear.
If you beat him with a rod, he will not die. He's saying, don't kill him. You shall beat him with a rod and deliver his soul from hell.
Amen.
Mercy. Mercy. I beat you into heaven, boy.
My goodness, bro.
Well, that's going to be a bad line. That's going to be a bad line.
Beating you into heaven, boy. Oh, wow. All right, so verse 15. My son, if your heart is wise, my heart will rejoice indeed, I myself. Yes, my innermost being will rejoice when your lips speaks right things. Verse 17, do not let your heart Do not let your heart envy sinners, but be zealous for the fear of the Lord all the day. For surely there is a hereafter, and your hope will not be cut off. Hear, my son, be wise, and guide your heart in the way. Do not mix with the wine bibbers, or the gluttonous eaters of meat, for the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty, and drowsiness will clothe a man with rags. Verse 22. Listen to your father who begot you, and do not despise your mother when she is old. Buy the truth and do not sell it. Also, wisdom and instruction and understanding. The father of the righteous will greatly rejoice, and he who begets a wise child will delight in him. Let your father and mother be glad, and let her who bore you rejoice. My son, give me your heart, and let your eyes observe my ways. For a harlot is a deep pit, and a seductress is a narrow well. She also lies in wait for a victim and increases the unfaithful among men. Verse 29. Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has contentions? Who has complaints? Who has wounds without cause? Who has redness of eyes? Those who linger long at the wine, those who go in search of mixed wine. Do not look on the wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the cup, when it swirls around smoothly. At the last, it bites like a serpent and stings like a viper. Your eyes will see strange things, and your heart will utter perverse things. Yes, you will be like the one who lies down in the midst of the sea, or like the one who lies at the top of the mast, saying, they have struck me, but I was not hurt. They have beaten me, but I did not feel it. When I shall awake, they may see when I shall awake, that I may see another drink. Mercy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's actually very funny, bro. Because like
How
when
you
you're
get at the
so
top of the
drunk.
mass?
Say it again.
That's my first thought is like, when you're so drunk, it's like, how I even end up here?
But I
There's a
used to say,
mosque.
right, when you're drunk,
And
yeah,
that's the big,
the
on a
big thing
ship.
on a ship.
Oh.
I just be
So
like,
I'm like, how you even
when
get up there,
when
bro?
people drunk, they cannot multitask for sure, but they can lock on to one task sometimes and do that one task. So his one task might have been climbing that mast, and he accomplished that task. That's all they saying.
No, but they ain't saying literally they say he would be like that. So let me tell you what I believe from that. When you're drunk, bro, so I've heard. No, but seriously, when you're seriously inebriated, bro, drunk, whatever, bro, and you just laying down, bro, and you feel like the room's spinning. You see what I'm saying? The son, the wise man here, he didn't want to say you feel like the room's spinning. The best he could do is say, bro, you feel like you on top, the tippy top of a ship. Cause it's like when you on
And
the ocean
rocking.
and it's rocking, bro. Like when you just
Mm,
standing normally on the ocean on
mm,
a ship and it rocking, bro. You just start woozy. But what I really was gonna say is you ever been so drunk and then you wake up the next morning and you feel like you get hit by a truck or something, or like you feel just break up, or like the song in the Bahamas, I bust right up, or I get do right in. You see what I
That's
say?
right.
Like,
mm.
right. So now think about it. This man saying you bust right up to the point where you wake up and you thought you get gang, bro. They struck me, but I was not hurt. They beat me, but I did not feel it, because you feel like you just get beat up, bro. You know what I mean? But then when shall I? And then you thinking, when shall I awake that I may seek another drink? You see what I said?
But you could also see it the flip way. It's like, bro, I so inebriated that even though they beat me, because another thing is like people who like all bust up, they'll go and they'll be bumping into everything, falling down, all these things, and it's like, bro, are you okay? And they'll
Mhm.
jump right back up and kind of stumble on their way. You know what I
It's so good, boy.
mean?
I should. I should.
So
It's
it's
so
strange.
good.
It's strange.
Never been better.
So it's like they get bust up, they get break up, they ain't feel a thing, and then whenever they wake up, they're like, all right, I need another drink,
Yeah.
and that's the person who you want to be like.
they say wine bites like a serpent. They like, bro, because it's true.
A
Because it's like
viper.
you think you got this thing under control, and then it strike you. You know what I mean?
Weird boy, she's coming up. Shut.
Just whop you over your head, bro.
Hey,
Make it.
it going good until it ain't.
Tell it ain't no in between. It ain't no in between, bro.
Say
Oh
it'll make
boy.
your eyes see strange things. Make you say,
Boy. And your heart will utter perverse things, boy. Lord of mercy.
That ain't no lie there. No
Really?
lie there, bro.
Boy,
That's
when
crazy.
What I study ain't got to be explained, but yeah, that's no. But I tell you the show, bro. I had a friend, my boy was like, bro, I don't. My boy was telling me, he wrote this on Twitter. He's like, bro, I don't understand how people just get drunk and want to fight because I only thinking about women when I drunk, bro. I am only like he's like, but that some people is like how like you watch TV and they say, oh, my father was an angry drunk or X Y Z, right? And it's like that's the truth, bro. It's like this text don't specify what the perverse things is, but it's a litany of things that can happen, bro. You know what I mean? Like the way I look at it, though, when you inebriated, you wave off self control. It's like you waive your self control rights, and we know it's the spirit and the flesh. These are two things that we in conflict with all the time: the spirit and the flesh. And the fruit of the spirit is self control. And so when you are not operating under self control, you are operating in the flesh. You see what I'm saying? And when you operate in the flesh, that's how the devil could easily just tempt you, bro. You see it? When you're so angry, the devil say, slap it. And then you just slap the person, or you just do this one thing, and after you finish the adrenaline over, you like, man, I don't know why I do that, bro. You see what I'm saying? Because you ain't had no self control, and when you drunk or inebriated, all these things, but it's like the devil could just he just rubbing his hands like, oh yeah, I got this one right where I want him, you know.
But one thing about these, and this ain't just this chapter, but like one thing I noticed about Proverbs in general, you know, when Solomon come in and he telling you like, don't be around this type of person, or don't hang with these type of people, or anything like that. I find it interesting because the first like the most obvious proverb or piece of wisdom is, obviously what's originally stated, like, hey, like don't speak in the hearing of a fool. You know what I mean? But on the flip side, it's like they also telling is there's also a rationale behind not being around that type of person. And when you really stop to think about it, it's like there's there's also a reason not to be that type of person either. You know what I mean? So not just don't speak in the hearing of a fool, but he will despise the wisdom of your words. But a fool will despise the wisdom of a wise person's words. So don't be that fool either. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I got you.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And next thing that stood out to me too was verse 17. Don't let your heart envy sinners, but be zealous with the fear of the Lord. For fearful of the day of the Lord, for surely there is a hereafter, and your hope will not be cut off. And I mean, like in today's day, it's so easy to be green with envy, like especially when you feel like injustices are going unpunished, things are not fair in life, and even though life isn't promised to be fair, but you could find yourself being like, yo, Lord, like, why them and not me? Or why I going through the struggle and not them? You know what I'm saying? Like, what have I done or what have they done to deserve vice versa? But like, yeah, saying like, yo, don't envy the hardest because one, you don't know what people truly going through. You don't know what they get. You don't know what they doing. You don't know who they serving. You know what I'm saying? And then he's saying, bro, there's a life after this. Like, don't be too caught up with the things of the world. Like how be what you should be zealous for is the day that the Lord is actually coming. And don't let your hope be cut off. So it's like focusing on the hereafter and not the present, not the things of this world. I think that's an important reminder.
Yeah, and that's interesting because even before Jesus' time, it wasn't universally accepted on what will happen after you
Post
die.
death.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But you can see times like this, and even in Psalms where they mention, some type of redemption or salvation or seeing God, again. I like the text where they say, verse 6, do not eat the bread of a miser, nor desire his delicacies. For as he thinks in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you. The only thing I don't really understand is the morsel you have eaten, you will vomit up and waste your pleasant words. But
Because I reading this in the New International Version, and I think that might help clear it up. So it's and I guess start from verse 6. Do not eat the food of a begrudging host. Do not crave his delicacies, for he is the kind of person who is always thinking about the cost. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you. You will vomit up the little that you've eaten and will have wasted your compliment. So when in verse 7 where it says he was always thinking about the cost, the way I read that is like, that cheapskate who gonna skimp out on getting, like they'll go and buy day old bread instead of going and buy fresh bread. And so by the time you sit down and you eat and everything, you saying, oh, all this look good, but then it don't turn out to be good on the back end, and you end up, in the backside, in the bathroom and all that stuff, and all those nice words that you were saying, they gone away.
so the way I think about it overall is like, if you think about a miser, right? That's like a Mr. Krabs, or like everybody hates Chris Dottie.
Scrooge.
Yeah, these people, they cheapskates. They cheapskates.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
He hates Chris Dottie.
Right.
But he said, what do you mean? Was it Julius? Anyways, that's not
Julius,
the
I
point.
think
Let's go.
it's Julius on the show. But it's like, bro, I've been in situations where I know someone did not have money, and the way they was acting, just because they didn't have money, it just makes everything uncomfortable. But like, I've been on a trip with someone who ain't had no money. They complaining about everything. Like, you see what I'm saying? They just making it seem uncomfortable, right? So this person offering you food, they might have spent their last, or they might not have want to spend money on you no matter what. You see what I'm saying? And you sitting there thinking they being hospitable to you because they saying to you, come eat. You know what I mean? But they ain't really mean that. They hope you don't eat that. They hope, as a matter of fact, they hope you don't eat so they can eat that. Man, I don't waste no food on Dawn. All this food for me. You know what I mean? Like type situation. Like, I know people like that. You know what I mean? And to me, I don't feel comfortable accepting something from someone if I know
it ain't genuine.
It ain't genuine. I cool.
Honestly, it's very few. Yeah, it's very few people. You gotta be a certain. Me and you gotta be cool in a certain type of way for me to say, yeah, I take something from you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really like eating from people.
Yeah.
So I'd be hard pressed to find myself in this predicament. Okay, so let's go for it. You got something else? I will cut you off.
Just one more. Just one more. Let me because I wanted to highlight
go for it.
Chapter voice 4. It says, "Do not overwork to be." Voice 4.
I ain't even messing with you. Keep going.
It says, "Do not overwork to be rich, because of your own understanding cease." And and again, going back to the New International Version, because it is read a little bit easier to me sometimes. It says, "Do not wear yourself out to get rich. Do not trust your own cleverness." And I feel like that is something, I just have to listen. I just have my own issues all the time. My wife tells me, say, I just have this strange confidence in myself, and I just don't know where it come from. It's just like, once I say something, I know I right. You know what I mean?
You have irrational confidence.
And I don't know about irrational. Yeah, let's come on.
You have irrational. Huh? You say that's cocky? Yeah, that's cocky.
But no, that's that's just my default, and this is definitely one of those verses for me where I have to be with it's a constant reminder, like, yo, you gotta take it easy, like, and I could see how I could see how that could affect a lot of things, in a lot of different scenarios in life that could have serious consequences just by having that level of overconfidence in your own cleverness and in your own understanding.
Mhm.
One more thing I want to say about that, because I do like how you brought it up, right? Because this paints a interesting contrast, right? Because in many other places in Proverbs up to this point, we see where Solomon has pretty much mocked being lazy, right? And so now this is like the balance at that point. It's like, don't be lazy. Being lazy is not good. But at the same time, don't work to the point where work almost becoming your idol in itself either. Like
Mhm,
in life, try to find that balance. I think that's what he's trying to
mhm,
go for. At least that's how I interpreted it. Like, don't overwork to be rich. If you work and on your hard work you become wealthy, that's one thing. But like, some people have the tendency to actually like. We all know these people who their career is their identity.
Yeah.
Their job is their identity. They get fired or laid off. They don't know who they are themselves anymore.
Mhm.
And I think that's what
mhm,
Solomon trying to get to. Like, don't make your work your idol at this point. You're doing all this work and then what you have to show for it. Because we go back to Ecclesiastes, he was like, bro, I was working the house. I do all these things, and then what I gotta do, leave this to my son? Like, what we
Yeah, to
talking
mhm.
feed
about?
me your food. Yeah.
What we talking about? So I think it's like the nice contrast here. Like, don't be lazy, but don't work to the point where you overworking yourself for just riches that's gonna fade away.
Yeah. That's so interesting too, because I ain't gonna lie, bro. This week, I start to see the bigger picture of like things that I could be doing. You see what I'm saying? And but it's one thing but like let's say you plant a seed.
Mhm.
Let's say it's a mango tree,
I like
and you get
mangoes.
yeah, and you get your first mango,
Mhm.
and you're like, wow, I could eat today, right? And then you say, bro, but if I plant but five more of these, you see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And then
Mhm.
Plantation.
obviously, yeah, but obviously, sometimes it can get insatiable,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that's a problem too. But even I was
Mhm.
like even when I was reading this, I was like, hold on now, man. I just get my face mango. You see what I'm saying? Like I want to keep going with something. I started to get a flow of what I should be doing.
Exactly.
And so I'm glad you mentioned that he made such an emphasis on the being lazy part. But it's funny because it starts off by saying, do not overwork to be
Mhm.
rich.
Mhm.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Don't overwork, and that's about having discipline. That's about like when I say you could be insatiable and you never gonna know when to stop. And obviously you don't have no balance. It's the thing you care about the most. And then at the second time, it's two real rebukes happening here. And that's the Dom's point. Because if your own understanding cease. I start early this year, bro. I started trading options at the beginning of the year, stock options, and sometimes I would get a return. Most of the time, I lost money, and we I think we were still in the book of Isaiah, and it was I think it was just when we was talking about
I
Ahaz.
think it was in Ecclesiastes then, still, right?
Oh, okay, but I think I
It
remember
was
it
like a
being
transition period. Anyway,
yeah,
sorry, keep going.
but I do remember it being where somebody was leaning onto their own understanding, bro, and it was like a
Mhm.
rebuke, like to say, "Hey, yeah, it was Ahaz because God was telling him, and I think we keep referencing the same
Oh.
chapter because God was telling him that He's gonna deliver him from the Syrians and from the Israelites and stuff like that. But he still went ahead and went to the Assyrians, right? And we went on this long rant about how even when it's like the odds are stacked against you, bro. And the clear sign is to do the logical thing. You should not lean on logic if it contradicts what God is calling you to do. You see what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Don't lean on your own understanding. And it was then where I realized God was talking to me and saying, "Hey, bro, you doing this because you think you could be up the source of your prosperity, bro. You know what I mean?" And so I had to step back. I had to step back, and I ain't gonna lie. I just started again a month ago, and bro, it's a completely different story, bro. good plays, bro. I on it like just play after play after play, like 5, 6 plays, and it went well. And yesterday, well, this week I had a very good play.
Mm-hmm.
And all I said is, oh, I got to do that again next week, and next week, and next week, and next week. And then even now, it's saying to me, bro, do not overwork to be rich. But I think I overwork. I'm just like, because of your own understanding. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
At the end of the day, these things happening because God allowing it to happen. And I can't for a second think, oh, it's because of my work that is causing this. And because if you feel it, let's say you invest in some way and you get like $1,000 return. You say, man, if I want 100,000, I got a 100x what I doing. I gotta put in 100 times the amount of work I doing. You see what I'm saying? And that's where you actually could lose yourself in something that God is actually giving you, because and you start to confuse that you giving this to yourself in some type of way, you know? I don't know,
I agree. It's good insight though. Like it just shows like the both. Like there's a fine balance like that we gotta hit, and then it's also really at the end of the day really just leaning on to God to help guide you and help guide you through life. Because one of my prayers right now too is like, Lord, like, okay, which avenue do you want me to walk down? I know what I want to do, 100% know what I want, but
man.
like, what do you want? And my hope is that I, align with what God wants me to do. So it is a fine act. It is a fine act, and like to your point too, like sometimes God knows the desires of our hearts, but sometimes He knows it's not the right time for us to have the desires of our hearts. You know what I'm saying? And even like let's take Moses for example, right? Moses knew deep down that, bro, God put me here to deliver my people from Egypt. Moses thought he was going to be some type of glorified leader of the army, kill a man and all, and have my boy to go in the desert for 40 years. God worked on his heart them whole all those 40 years, and after that, that's when God said, all right, now Moses, it's time for you to go back. To the point where Moses is like, now you want me to go back? Bro, that ain't for me no more. And God was like, no, you thought you was ready then, but now you're ready to actually do what I actually need you to do. Because now your heart and your mind are in a totally different place. And this the Moses I need to lead my people out of Israel, out of Egypt, not the one that was there before. And so I ain't saying your journey might take 40 years, but I'm just saying like God knows the right timing to give us what we want. And it's strangely it's the times when we don't even think we're ready for it anymore. Or the times when we don't even desire it anymore for real. You're like, oh, so now is when God actually saying, oh no, this is when you actually are ready to achieve or accomplish or be given this blessing that you may have wanted 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago even, but now it's the right time for you to have it. Like they saying about 2 Peter, be humble and at the right time I will exalt you.
Amen. Amen.
All right, y'all ready for Isaiah?
Whoever that is, yeah, I'm ready.
Dominic, because like this is what I walk into. All right. So Isaiah chapter 38. So in the previous chapters, we have been the buildup of Sennacherib and his what we call that guy?
Envoys?
The Rob, yeah,
the Rob
the
Shakir,
envoy
yeah.
or the Rob, as I'm gonna say. The Rob came, make his big announcement, saying, hey, y'all, cheap as y'all just come follow Sennacherib, eh? Like we ain't gotta do this long talk. I talking to y'all in your language so y'all can hear me. Like, we done conquer all these other people. We done destroy y'all other fortified cities. So what make y'all think y'all gonna be different? What we doing? The people ain't saying nothing. The Rob go away. Sennacherib fighting all these other people now. Send a letter back. Cheap as y'all come fight. Like cheap as y'all just like surrender. It's like surrender for real. Because we don't have to go through all of this. Be putting y'all under siege and all that stuff. Like we need to go through all this. Y'all just capitulate yourselves and follow us. Y'all around here saying y'all God deliver y'all. He tell the people, hey, don't listen to Hezekiah. Y'all God ain't gonna save y'all. Hezekiah, said his prayer. Isaiah gave, the word of God, essentially saying, guess what? Sennacherib ain't gonna step a foot here. They ain't gonna siege y'all. He gonna go by the way which he came, and he gonna get taken out. Like he gonna die in his hometown. And sure enough, sure enough, my boy got taken out by his own sons, which is wild. Couldn't trust nobody in the ancient days.
What?
So this brings us to Isaiah 38. All right. So Isaiah 38. In those days, Hezekiah was sick and near death. Oh boy. This brings me back to what? 2 Kings 20.
Yep.
But in those days, Hezekiah was sick and near death. And Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, went to him and said to him, Thus saith the Lord, set your house in order, for ye shall die and not live. Now, if someone tell you can die, why they gotta add you will not live on the back end of it?
But bro, but still though, like
You the prophet,
just-
where are my comforting words? Where are
That's
my
like-
words of hope?
that's like saying though, bro, like, all right, so you just mentioned how they were victorious, quote unquote, against the Assyrians because obviously God came and delivered them.
Mhm.
But before that, we know Hezekiah. Just a brief reminder for those who may not have been following along with us. Hezekiah, son of Ahaz. Ahaz was wicked. Hezekiah was good. The Bible describes Hezekiah as being the most righteous of all the kings of Judah, right? Up until this point. He reinstated the Passover. He broke down the idols except for very few high places or whatever.
One or two remain.
One or two remain. He warred against the Philistines and was victorious. The Assyrians greatly outnumbered him. They were about to lose. He turned to the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah prayed, give him a word back. He turned to God himself. God gave them a word saying, yo, this is what's going to happen. You could be straight. So now he's seasoned. He's still pretty young. Still in the like middle-aged man. But you sick and you doing what you've already been known to do. As a righteous man, you turn to God. And in those days, they used to have people intercede on their behalf, which is the prophet. You get to the prophet, you say, hey, prophet, ask God to heal me. And the prophet say, God say, park up, because it's time to go. You say, park it up, bro, because your time done. You see that? So you
Your
catch what I said?
time on this earth has come to an end.
Like, jeepers, you got your affairs in order, bro.
Get your house in order, buddy.
Yeah,
That
bro.
is a crazy word. Like for somebody to come and be like, get your affairs in order, because
Get
you done. Like,
with surety. That's what get me. You will die. You will not be alive. Just in case you had you will die part, just in case you thought it would be a not, you will not die. No, you will not be alive. Just to make sure you get the full package.
Yeah, bro. Straight up, bro. Yeah, jeepers, you sort everything out, man. Because as I said for you, bro, and to me, Hezekiah is one of them situations, his story, when like how we say God's ways are not our ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Hezekiah's story, I agree, but I understand God's ways a little more now. You see what I'm saying? Other times, like, because we see the result, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other times, like Elisha, things and John the Baptist, I can't fully understand, although I can see why God do it. I just don't understand why it have to be that way. And what I mean by that is this. Elijah did not die. He was escorted to heaven in a fiery chariot, right? He had his protege, Elisha. And this man surely did die. And he didn't die of old age. He died of an illness. You see what I'm saying? Now, Elisha performed miracles, with the widow. You see what I'm saying? I think he by the grace of God, resurrected a young boy back to life. And even when he was dead, they throw some men. They was burying their friend, and some raiders come and they had to hurry up, throw their friend in the tomb with Elisha. The dead friend touched Elisha and was resurrected back to life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I still try to understand, so why Elisha had to die and why he had to die of a sickness type situation. You know what I mean? Obviously, God ways not our ways. It was his time to go. Same thing with John the Baptist. John the Baptist, Jesus described as the greatest prophet period. The greatest prophet, but he got killed. You see what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
got killed. Jesus ain't trying to say, hey, let me reason with Herod on your behalf. Let me bring you back to life. No, that was that. And so now we see Hezekiah where Ahaz had a nice long life. Bro, I don't know how long he lived, but he was older than
Like
what
50
Hezekiah
something,
is now.
he reigned for like 50 something years, but
You
Ahaz
see
had
what
a
I said?
long run.
Had a nice long run. But now me, I cleaning up the city. I bringing people back to you, and my life cut short. But it's strange sometimes, But we truly just don't understand God, and we not God. We don't know all the nuance and all the things He have to juggle.
Mhm.
But yeah, man, this definitely an interesting story. We get to see behind the curtains of why things happen the way they happen.
Yeah, Fox. Okay, it looks like Ahaz was not king for that long.
No, how long was Ahaz king?
This saying 16 years?
That don't
Let's
sound
see,
right.
that don't sound right.
How long was Ahaz king? Sorry, y'all.
Anyway, while you fact
Last
check that, I'm gonna keep on reading. So
Mhm.
then Hezekiah turned his face towards the wall and prayed to the Lord and said, Remember now, O Lord, I pray, how I have walked before you in the truth and with a loyal heart, and have done what is good in your sight. And Hezekiah wept bitterly. And the Lord came to Isaiah, saying, Go and tell Hezekiah, Thus saith the Lord, the God of David, your father, I have heard your prayer and I have seen your tears. Surely I will add to your days 15 years.
Mm.
Now, do y'all rather know when y'all gonna die or not when you gonna die?
I mean, he didn't know he was gonna die regardless.
No, I mean, okay, yes.
Both instance.
The only two things showing life is death and taxes.
Yeah.
Okay, understood, right? But let's just say, like, for a fact, you only got 15 more years to live. Would you rather that?
To know for a fact.
So,
Mm.
for a fact, every day you have right now, for a fact, you are on quite literally borrowed time.
Honestly, I think I would rather be I would rather be sick and not know for sure and have the faith that I could get well than know you gonna get well and you're gonna die in 15 years.
Right.
Like I wouldn't want Isaiah to come and tell me nothing.
That's a
That's
whole
that's what I
decade
said.
and a
I wouldn't
half.
know.
I mean, that's a whole decade and a half, but that could happen in a decade and a half.
And we see a lot did happen that decade and a half.
Just to put a
Yes, it
pin,
is.
Yeah.
Ahaz did reign for 16 years. However,
That's crazy.
so we was a little hyperbolic, but obviously the point still remains. Because I'm sure if we go one king above or a couple of kings above, there were
The
several
50
wicked
something,
kings
who had the
that
52-year reign? Now I'm curious. Keep going.
there were several wicked kings that reigned for a long time, is the point we tried to make. And even if there wasn't, 16 years, Hezekiah was still in year 14 at the time when Isaiah was like, you about to die. So even still, Ahaz would have outlived him if he had died right then and there. But to answer your question, bro, I can't say, bro, I can't definitively say which one. I think for the sake of my family, it'd be better to know when I'm about to go. You see what I'm saying? That way they could
You
plan
can have
and
your affairs in order.
have my affairs in order. I have a decade and a half to how to get my affairs in order. You see what I'm saying? But I think that the moment I know when I'm about to die, I think my life just ends right there. You see what I'm saying? Because like everything you enjoy, it ain't gonna be as good. Like it ain't gonna,
Yeah,
or it
it's
might
like
be
you
stressful.
can't. It may be, but it's
Yeah.
to me. I feel like it'll be hard to appreciate in the moment
Mhm.
what that moment is because it's like, oh, this the last time. Oh, we ain't going to Disney World no more. Or I ain't gonna go. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you cannot. It's. I feel like I would have a hard time pulling myself out of the big picture of oh, I only got X amount of years to appreciate the fact that I have this time with you right now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
this one random. The king that reigned for 52 years was King Azariah,
Okay.
just because it was going to bother me.
So, but would you want to know your mortality?
I see the pros and cons of it. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, if you know, because I look at it the flip side too. Like, to me, if you know that you only have X amount of time left, to me, you enjoy some of these moments just that much more, make it more meaningful. Like, my like loved ones, right? Like, sometimes you just never know what's gonna be the last time you see a loved one, right? But if you know for a fact this is the last time you're gonna see the loved one, you're all in good health, like you might make that moment a little bit more meaningful. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, like the pros, I mean, I think for interactions, it's a pro. Probably for experiences, it might be a con if you start thinking like this mom is not never to get to do this again, or you might be like, oh, this is the last time I get to do this again. Let me actually fully enjoy it. So I think it really depends on a case by case basis. So like I think parts of life have more meaning when you do know, because now you live in every day with intention. More so not. Like you see how some people like they have movies about this, man. Like, some cancer patients find out they only have like a year or something to live, and they actually go in and actually live life. I think Queen Latifah had a movie like this before. Like she was diagnosed with
Oh yeah, I
this.
saw this. I know what you're talking about.
Exactly, and she went out, and then they find out she didn't have it no more, right? But it's like I feel like certain people can have a life like that, like, oh yo, like I have X amount of time, let me actually do stuff with more meaning and more intention. So I can see the flip side. Me, I would try to make it a more positive experience. Like actually, like, okay, cool, I have 15 more years to live. Now I ain't wasting my time doing frivolous things that I don't really want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is a little bit more intention. The interactions I'm having are having a little bit more meaningful. The conversation I'm having is a little bit more meaningful. You have kids. You actually want to impart the things that you want your kids to learn, or the values you want them to have. You're more intentional about doing that because I ain't gonna be around that much longer for sure. So I feel like it could be a positive thing. That way you ain't really living life frivolously or taking these moments for granted because there's a finite moment of these. Like imagine, like, you got that you were a decade already gone, you got 5 years left. All right, guys, time to this crunch time now. Like what I need y'all to pick up the pace now. Okay, that's how you run this kingdom type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I need y'all to learn some of these things. I think it could be beneficial. Because I mean,
but I think I
go for it.
No, I was just saying. I think you hit the nail on the head because I think especially if you like if we stick on this 15 years, like I could see how over the course of a decade, like a decade is a long time, right? And I could see how you could be intentional, but also still have the freedom to be in the moment. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But once you start getting down to 1 year, 6 months, 3 months,
It'll start weighing
then
on
I
you.
think then I think it'll weigh
I
on
think
you.
it'll
So it's
start
kind
weighing
of
on
like
you.
I think it's a double-edged sword in that regard. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So verse 6, I will deliver you and this city from the hand of the king of Assyria, and I will defend this city. And this is the sign to you from the Lord, that the Lord will do such a thing when he has spoken. Behold, I will bring the shadow of the sundial which has gone down with the sun on the sundial of Ahaz 10 degrees backward. So the sun returned 10 degrees on the dial on which it had gone down. And the verse 9, this is the writing of Hezekiah, king of Judah, when he had been sick and had recovered from his sickness. I said, in the prime of my life, I shall go to the gates of Sheol. I am deprived of the remainder of my years. I said, I shall not see Yah. I shall not see Yah, the Lord in the land of the living. I shall observe man no more among the inhabitants of the world. My lifespan is gone, taken from me like a shepherd's tent. I have cut off my life like a weaver. He cuts me off from the loom. From day until night, you make an end of me. I have considered until morning, like a lion. So he breaks all my bones. From day until night, you make an end of me. Like a crane or a swallow, so I chattered. I mourned like a dove. My eyes failed from looking upward. O Lord, I am oppressed. Undertake for me. What shall I say? He has both spoken to me and he himself has done it. I shall walk carefully all my years in the bitterness of my soul, the Lord. O Lord, by these things men live. And in all these things is the life of my spirit. You will restore me and make me alive. Indeed, it was for my own peace that I had great bitterness. But you have lovingly delivered my soul from the pit of corruption. For you have cast all my sins behind your back. For Sheol cannot thank you, death cannot praise you. Those who go down to the pit cannot hope for your truth. The living man, he shall praise you as I do this day. The Father shall make known your truth to the children. The Lord was ready to save me. Therefore, we will sing my songs with stringed instruments all the days of our life in the house of the Lord. Now Isaiah has said, let them take a lump of figs and apply it as poultice on the boil, and he shall recover. Then Hezekiah had said, what is the sign that I shall go up to the house of the Lord?
First of all, I just want to acknowledge that I find it just a little bit amusing that not Isaiah, Hezekiah gone through this whole circle of emotions.
Mhm.
Like he get a word, or you're gonna live and you're gonna get an additional 15 years, and then he gone into this whole psalm that he break out into. And then Isaiah afterwards was like, all right, just go put some figs on the boils and he'll be all right. It's just,
Oh, that's funny, bro. I never even thought about that.
you just go
Yeah.
put some figs on the boil and he'll be all right.
Make you wonder, hey, this option was always here? because he was content to just let me die before. But all right, so
For real.
God add healing to the figs, man.
no, he did. But this option was always here, is what I'm trying to say. You get what I said? Like,
Hey, you prayed an earnest prayer? You prayed an
yeah.
earnest prayer?
Mhm.
And to that point, it's like Job, right? There's the only two people I know in the Bible who something happened to them and they turn to God and say, oh God, you know I deserve this. You know what I mean? Maybe I trying to be funny. No, I didn't even say it, but I was just speculating. Like if John the Baptist had prayed that, what it couldn't have been different, but I don't think it could have because John the Baptist represent the saints who gonna be persecuted and who have been persecuted since him. And so that makes sense. But yeah, man, this man had a terminal skin disease, and he prayed to God and was like, bro, I walked in truth. You know what I'm saying? I have a loyal heart. I just wonder, bro, what does it like? Is it are you graded on a curve? Or you literally was like that, bro? You was like, bro, I'm really like, yeah, I'm really like not out here sinning for real, bro. Like I really live like that.
It, I don't even know. And the other thing about it is because it's like I looking at this and I'm like, bro, is and I don't want to make it sound like, oh, I'm trying to understand God, because it's obvious that we can never understand. But it's like when we look at him, and it's like him and Job, and they looking at God like, come on, what's going on? I really shouldn't be going through this. And then we look at even Jesus, when he was about to go through his trials and tribulations, he was like, let this cup pass from me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So we have it's hard to kind of put it into to a real perspective to wrap your head around, because it's like we have examples where God has heard prayers, and we have examples where God has been like, no, you still got to go through this. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But it's like both of them still work together
Mhm.
to show a God who has a master plan. You understand what I'm saying? And so I think it still goes to show, like, listen, there's always a rhyme and a reason and a rationale, and we can never come to the understanding of what that reason is. We can ask God for something, and He can say yes. He can say you're gonna get exactly what you're asking for, and then some. And we can have a God who can say, oh, like almost it almost feels like radio silence. You know what I mean? But none of that takes away from the goodness of who God is, because there's always a reason, and we don't necessarily get to understand that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Quite fascinating, bro.
All right, so I want to pivot a little bit and talk about further up. You also got something to say on that topic, on that line of track? Because I'm about to change the topic a little bit.
No, go for it.
Right? So what stood out to me is the sign in itself, right? Like, one, I could play in a beautiful symmetry of how, as a symbol of giving Hezekiah more life, God gave the day more time.
Mm-hmm.
He literally turned the sundial back. And it's interesting, right? They keep on saying the sundial of Ahaz. And I was like, what is the sundial of Ahaz? The Hebrew word here was actually like ma'alot or something like that. I never take Hebrew. But it's like ma'alot, which actually means like step. And so when they look at it, they were saying like this is one of the leftovers from one of the Assyrian relics, or like one of the Assyrian temples and altars that was left. So it was like a stepped altar type thing that once the sun hits it, naturally it's going to start progressing around. So God used that ironically as saying, okay, this thing you guys was using as time that ain't even like Hebrew or shouldn't even still be here. I'm gonna use that as the sign to show that, okay, the shadows are going to go back on this. And it's like, how does God do this, right? Like, who knows? Like, we see instances where with Gideon, where the sun stood still? I think it's Gideon, the sun stood still.
I want to say Gideon, yeah.
Then I think it was an Amos where the sun set at noon. Right? Like we serve a supernatural, a God who has power and dominion over the entire cosmos. The sun, stars, everything obey his command. So like,
it was Joshua. It was Joshua.
It was Joshua.
Where the sun stood still. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, you're correct.
Was where they had to hold his hand up, or that was Moses?
No, that was Moses. Oh my goodness.
That was another one.
It was Gibeon. It was about like Gibeon with Joshua, right? I know it was something like it was G.
Right, that's where the sun stood still.
Gibeon. I had the Gibeon something in my head. Anyway, right? But I think that's kind of beautiful, right? Like God like gave him more time, and he said, okay, as a symbol of this, I am going to give the day more time. And it's interesting too, which you're going to get in the next chapter. We see the people who were so interested by this sign was the Babylonians.
The wise men.
Be careful of the wise men who see at your table.
All right.
You want to get to chapter 39? So that's just a quick one.
Yeah.
So chapter 39, at the time of Merodach Baladan, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he heard that he had been sick and recovered. Sure. And Hezekiah was pleased with them and showed them the house of his treasures, the silver and the gold, the spices and the precious ointment, and all his armory, and that was found among his treasures. There was nothing in his house or in his dominion that Hezekiah did not show them. I can let y'all talk about that.
We have a term for that in the Bahamas. Called liking something. Anyway. Easier term is we call that being frenzy. Right?
Frenzy.
It's like when you're desperate for friends.
Dummy.
Frenzy, bad.
You little frenzy. And so obviously we could play Monday morning quarterback now and say this was the bad thing. But if it didn't end the way it ended, we probably wouldn't have looked at that no type of way at all. You see what I'm saying? So all right. So one thing you just never do is show somebody everything you have. You see what I'm
No.
saying? Like, let's say hypothetically I had a safe in my house, right? I ain't sure when I giving you all the tour to my house. I ain't saying, hey, I come check this.
We ain't ready to save cars.
I say hypothetically, I don't know if I have a safe or
Hey
not.
dog,
You see what I'm saying?
hey dog. He
I
said,
We
can't
didn't even
confirm.
know
he
that
said
there
we
was a
ain't
safe.
ready to save.
I can't
This the
confirm
first
or
time
deny.
we hear about the safe,
Y'all,
It's levels to our friendship. I see what level I on now.
y'all,
Okay.
y'all help me move in my house, so y'all know if I have a safe or not. That's all
Hey
I can
dog,
say.
are we still didn't see the safe?
We still ain't see the safe. I don't know
Let's
where the
say
safe
Anyway,
even come
I ain't
from.
gonna
hypothetically,
take away from your point. I ain't gonna take away from your point.
hypothetically, if I had a safe,
Oh, your
right?
voice.
Hypothetically, if I had a safe, I ain't just cracking the safe as a good host or as a good gesture for everyone to see everything I got. You see what I said? Because people just catch bright ideas, bro. I ain't saying that these people ain't wasn't being earnest, but in the event that they fall on hard times, they know for a fuck where they can go to get a nice armory, where they can get a nice treasure, all these jewels. You know what I mean? And so that's why this really particularly wasn't a good idea, especially because these are Babylonians, bro. Do you even know who these people were? Do you even know them, bro? You see what I'm saying? Like,
And my thing is, God just come and give you 15 years. And it
See?
almost feel like day one, you come out swinging with the stupidness.
Right?
You know what I mean? It's like they like you get one little piece of gift, and that's another thing. I'm like,
You
what
should
kind
have prayed
of
for
gift?
15 years and wisdom to use this 15 years wisely.
Because I'm like, what kind of gift you would have gotten to make these people be like, to make you be like, oh yeah, let me show you everything else that I own in life. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of gift you got to give somebody to make them pull out their phone and put in their password and show you all their bank account numbers and bank account information? You understand what I'm saying? Like that don't, it just don't logically compute
see,
to me.
it's two things happening. One, you show them your bank account information, right? But at the same time, you know, some people they they like to flex, bro. You see what I'm saying?
Mm,
Some people ain't gonna show you their bank account, but they wear their bank account around their neck. So you walk outside, you see the big chain, and you assume they get plenty of money. You never know, that might have been all the money they spent on this chain. But some people they just like to
mm,
showboat in that way. You see what I'm saying?
mm,
Like, and you see it on Instagram all the time, but it's even fake humble, even people just be fake humble, bro. You see what I'm saying? They showing you, oh yeah, this is my yacht, this is my this and that and the third. Yeah, I work hard for this. You could be just like me. But really and truly, it really stroking their ego just to show everybody how much they got. And I think,
mm,
excuse me, that's what's happening with Hezekiah. But I wanna pose a question
Go for it.
because I feel like it's easy for us to say the man check out and it ain't cool and all that, right? But remember, Hezekiah was a king, right? We spoke from the perspective of if you knew that you only had X amount of days to live, right? But I can give you one better, bro. All of us as working professionals, if your job tell you nah, you will be laid off on such and such a day, right? How much will you care about your job until the day you get laid off? But you know you ain't gonna be here forever, bro. You see what I'm saying? You start checking out.
But my thing, the dawn point is you kind of know you ain't gonna be here forever, regardless, right? But I got
mm.
the next thing I want to say too. Oh, Dominic, you could answer the question. But I do get your point.
No,
Like, you know, you on borrowed time. Like, why you even really starting to care for it? So I do get your point. I don't want to downplay that. I guess I
yeah,
don't want to say after that.
I will say this one quick point because it's kind of hard for me to answer that, especially in the context of what going on here. Because the difference is like is I think it's more akin to if you know if you own a company and you know and somebody come and say I done shut your company down in 15 days or whatever the case is, then how you gonna react to that? Because my whole point is all of this is Hezekiah. You know what I mean? That's his treasury, that's his nation. You know what I mean? That's his kingdom. Versus if I got a job I working for the man and the man say he about to lay me off, of course I ain't care. You know, because I ain't mine to begin with.
Okay. But
All
watch
right.
this, right? But watch
Go for it.
this. We remember when Magic Johnson was about to quit, right? They asking him questions about his job, and he like, I don't know,
I won't
I
be
ain't gonna be
there.
here. I'm not gonna be here, bro. I'm not gonna be here. And I feel like that's what Hezekiah, and that's just me being real, bro. I think truly, I ain't saying I can't speak for Hezekiah, but I could see a world where Hezekiah was frustrated with God. Even though you give me 15 years, he might have been one ungrateful, and it's only 15 years you give me. And two, the fact that you even was about to let me die after I was the one, and it's pride, of course, but I was the one who literally cared, bro. Nobody cares about you. You see what I'm saying? And it ain't right for them not to care. But I was the only one who started to care, bro. You see what I said? And now this all for nothing. But you ever work on something, bro? And like you feel like you was on a treadmill going nowhere fast, bro. You might have died for a whole week, then you step on the scale ain't move, or the scale up. You see what they saying or something. You just feel like I just want to quit, bro. Like I ain't care no more, man. You see what they saying? Like that's what I feel like Hezekiah. That's what I feel like he in right now.
All right. So I just want to
See,
give a little bit of
what,
historical context.
yeah, go
Maybe
on.
want to go?
Let me just say this real quick, because
Yes,
I'm
hear it
like,
first.
when I think about this, because you had mentioned this earlier when you was talking about Elisha, right? And how come Elisha did die from a sickness, but Hezekiah got an extra 15 years, and I'm just like, bro, at the end of the day, what I didn't get from Elisha, and what I got from Elisha that I didn't get from like
Hezekiah.
Hezekiah or any of the, like, even if you look at other people like Esther. If I perish, I perish. You know that, like, there at some point there's almost there's a fear of death that is here, where I'm like, bro, if you were not fearful of death and put your, like, honestly, you saw that God already promised you 15 years. So why do you have to be afraid of death after that? You know what I mean? Like, after that, it's like, bro, if I got a word from God, and God, even though, put aside whether or not I wanted to get that word, but if I got a word from God, and I know I was gonna get an extra 15 years, to
Don't go
me, that should
skydiving
be
tomorrow. Tom
let,
said,
let's let's
nah.
not.
He going scuba diving. He going on the Titan submarine craft.
That
He
doesn't
said,
mean you
he
cannot
said,
get
God
injured though.
promised me 15 years, boy. Don't be when the people
But
say, boy,
no,
I know, hey, my, my project manager say every time he go on a plane and there's a baby, he feels happy. He said, surely God wouldn't let the baby die.
Oh my goodness.
Dom could be in the submarine like, oh, y'all good. God
Y'all
gave me
got it. Y'all
15
stay with me.
years.
Y'all stick with me. Stick with me.
it's like, no, but it's for real, because I'm like, what is there to be upset about? Because you prayed for something and you got it. You know what I mean?
God say,
Yeah.
Dominic say, God give him plot armor at that point.
Yeah, but
At that point,
I think he checked out, bro. I truly think he checked out, bro. Like,
All right. So it's interesting, right? So now in the book of Isaiah, right? Up to this point, we've been so focused on the Assyrians, right? We had one or two chapters that talk about the Babylon Empire to come, right?
mhm.
But we've been mainly so focused on the Assyrian Empire, right? Chapter 39, from 39 to 36, the book itself starts switching to the Babylonian Empire. We they about to get take captive and all that stuff, right? So this is like the pivotal point in the chapter in the whole book where we start to focus on the Babylonian Empire. But like this particular king, well, prince at this point, but he's gonna be a future king of Babylon, right? Bro, historically, he was almost like a freedom fighter against the Assyrians. So now when you start thinking about historical context, right? Bro, we just had this big dust up with the Assyrians. You like the Assyrians' number one enemy, bro,
Mhm.
and you checking in on me. So I feel privileged right now. So I don't even think he really checked out. I think he was really the first thing. He was really buttering up to them, not knowing that you
mm,
really setting yourself up for failing the first time. Like you ain't learned nothing from this whole this dust up you had with your daddy had with the Assyrians. But like this same Merodach Baladan, bro, historically, he was known as one of the kings who maintained Babylonian independence in the face of the Assyrian military supremacy. So he historically, one, he wasn't no joke. And two, he was like big bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, bro, like you signed up to the Syrians. Oh, but that's like that's kind of cool. You actually doing it. Like, we have to go to God type of thing for help or what's not, yada, yada, yada. But come look at my kingdom, man. It's good thing having you. There's almost like a special guest, literally just come and visit you. How you interpreted it just in the historical context. I don't really think he checked. I really think he was just being too frenzy. He was being overly frenzy and not knowing he fraternizing with his future enemy.
I can tell you why. When we go down, I go further emphasize why I think he check out, because it's a clear difference. It's a clear change of heart in Hezekiah before he knew he was gonna die and afterward. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly where you're going, but to Earl point, I think when you put it when you put it into that context, I could kind of see that whole this is more of a frenzy thing instead of a checkup. But honestly, I could
I
also
think it's a
see how
mixture
it could,
too. But I'm like in the historical
right.
context, like the historical
It
context
puts
of
it
the
into a
time does
different
matter.
perspective.
It does matter
Yeah.
what was happening in the times.
Yeah, but I think it still goes back to kind of what I was thinking about, right? In terms of, listen, you just had and not only because we see in 38 that we got this sign, the sundial moving 10 steps back, but also we see that he got while this the whole the end of or Sennacherib or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
He died. That like all that happened while he was sick. Like his death and the end of the end of his whole army or whatever. Like that happened. That looks like it's happening while he was sick. So he is seeing sign after sign after sign saying, "Boom, God, boom, God." We should be very much relying on God. And then the second that somebody come up and say, "Oh yeah, I like your style. What's going on?" He you understand what I say? Like he switched it up real quick.
Yeah.
All right, so let's keep going. Verse 3, then Isaiah the prophet went to King Hezekiah and said to him, "What did these men say, and where did they come to you from? From where did they come to you?" And Hezekiah said, "They came to me from a far country, from Babylon." And he said, "What have they seen in your house?" So Hezekiah answered, "They have seen all that is in my house. There is nothing among my treasures that I have not shown them." Then Isaiah said to Hezekiah, "Hear the word of the Lord of hosts. Behold, the days are coming when all that is in your house and what your fathers have accumulated until this day shall be carried to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, says the Lord. And they shall take away some of your sons who will descend from you, whom you will beget, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon." So Hezekiah said to Isaiah, "The word of the Lord which you have spoken is good." For he said, "At least there will be peace and truth in my days."
That's crazy.
That's
My boy say, "Go on,
Go for it. No, go for it.
no," because I'm like, my boy say, "Yeah, sure, that's good. At least what that means is ice cream."
Exactly. But to me, that's where I really feel like he started to check out, bro. Like, because he know what he do is wrong, bro. You see what I'm saying? But so this was just Mr. Righteous Man. God, I never really fall off with you. I was loyal towards you, right? Now Isaiah check him. And it's funny because the first thing Isaiah says, "Would you show him?" You said, "Would you show them?" It's like to say, like to me, it implies that it's obvious that we have these guests, but everything ain't should it's obvious that it's a known fact that it's dangerous to show everything to these allies. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, we have to acknowledge that, like, the why he did it, and it was because of like pride and vanity. You see what I'm saying? I showing you, boy, look at all my bling bling. Look at my this, look at my that. It's like when I say earlier, like you see some people, they might wear their bank account around their neck, bro. You trying to flex, bro. You know what I'm saying? And these things don't glorify God, bro, because at the end of the day, it's God is the reason why you even have these things, bro. Because we just read a couple of chapters before that you have to you have to pay the Assyrians out of the temple of God. You see what I'm saying? Now that you have peace from the Assyrians, you're able to show them, oh, look at all the wealth I've amassed. And that's because God has led the way for you to have a peaceful kingdom. You see what I'm saying? So you could have this wealth and you could have this economy. But now it's more so, hey, look at what I do, look at what I do, look at what I do. And as a man who know he about to die, if that's your demeanor, bro, like to me, that show me you don't care, bro. Like I don't care, bro. I don't care, though. You see what I'm saying? And if you have a don't care attitude, and someone come to you and say, bro, your actions has cursed your sons, bro, and you say, that's good for them. You know what I mean? At least it ain't me. You know? To me, that's someone who don't care personally. And that's how you really misunderstanding what he could mean by that. You know what I mean?
Like I said, I think it's a mixture of both because when they came in there, he was already in a state of pride. The man factor, he was already in that frenzy things. He moved. It's like, all right, someone catch you. But it's like we all been here, bro. Someone tell you something what you just really thoroughly enjoy doing, bro. They tell you wrong, bro. I don't care what you got to say in this moment, because that's still your pride talking. So
Right.
to me to say like he might have checked out, sure, because we don't get nothing else about it, right? But it's like to me, but I just had fun doing what I was doing, bro. You know what I'm saying? I just had fun doing. I thoroughly enjoyed doing what I was doing, and now you come telling me what I doing was wrong. At that moment, I don't care what you got to say. Now, in retrospect, in this rest of his 15 years, he might have very well been repentant. We don't get that no more. This is his last act. And this is the beginning of the 15. We just know, like, bro, that's it. That's the end of your arc. We just showing that the rest of your heart was truly in your heart at that point in time, right? I think it's a mixture of both. Like the historical context is why he enjoyed doing what he was doing, why he was so hyped to do what he was doing. He made a mental error, and someone come and check him, and he just wasn't into that. He's saying, bro, I don't care. I could see myself making that same remark given that circumstances.
The only thing I'll challenge you on, bro, is if this was something you do wrong and the punishment was on you and you know you was gonna eat the consequences, I could see you saying, bro, I don't care, this is what it is, right? But if someone say, bro,
we have all I hear what you're saying, but we have all said dumb stuff
but
in the moment.
But all I saying is if somebody say, bro, but your children, but they can get carried off, or they could be eunuchs for other people, all this and that and the third, and you say you don't care. But to me, that's hard for me to really fathom.
But then some of that was also already prophesied to happen as well. I hear what you're saying. I ain't shilling for the guy. I really don't care. But it's like I hear what you're saying. I'm like, bro, but when you're in that state of pride, bro, you say stuff that you truly don't.
I get it. You blinded. You blinded,
bro. You just blinded by just the passion in that moment, bro. And so like him saying, bro, because like, bro, I have said stuff in that moment of pride where I like, bro, I seriously regret it. And I know I can regret it, but right now, I really care what you have to say, bro. Like I just dismissing this conversation.
But even in that example, it's like you truly don't mean what you're saying, but at the time you react out of emotion. You see what I'm saying? And that's why you regret it. Like you say, we don't have no evidence.
We don't have, but this like
what happened or not.
This like day 5 of the 15 years.
Yeah.
And the Bible don't give us nothing more, because I even go back to 2 Kings 20. They say, oh yeah, everything else he do, all the pools he do, how he bring the water to the city, that in the other book. He rests with his fathers, Manasseh become king. He could still do other goodness next 15 years, but we just get this one pivotal moment of it, and it's like, bro, that's it.
But you got anything to say, Don?
No, I think we all on the same. Well, me and you on the same page, guys. I'm like I don't think I find it hard, and maybe obviously this is like one me in this century kind of thing is difficult to put yourself into another time and into another era to begin with. Mm-hmm. But I think the hard part for me that I can't kind of wrap my head around is exactly what you're saying. Like these are now your children. You know what I mean? And so you ain't just saying like I don't care about what this person gotta say. It's about you ain't saying what this person gotta say about your children. You know what I mean? Like it's hard for me to kind of wrap my head around that one.
Yeah, like to me, he sound more like who I believe Ahaz to be, like his father, who was not a righteous king, than who I would assume Hezekiah to be. Bro, when we go through like the 2 Kings and the Chronicles account, bro, it's only good things they gotta say about Hezekiah, bro. There's only one mark on his report card, is that he was being extorted by the Assyrians, and even then he turned around and said, "Man, I ain't doing that no more, bro." You see what I'm saying? And so, like, I just think it's a vast contrast between um pre-illness and post-illness, you know. And Hezekiah is one of them ones I sit and think about, and I just wonder, bro, like the Bible don't the him and Solomon, right? We know where you start, we know where you end, you know, and
Mhm.
it makes me wonder truly what the state of your heart was, you know what I mean, at the time of your end. Because God might know, God might see, we all a lot of us have slippery slopes, right? And that's why it's important for us not to be proud and saying, God, like, I glad I ain't like that. That sinner over there. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of times it's only by the grace of God that you're not like that sinner. It's only by the grace of God that you ain't strung out on some type of addiction because you wasn't exposed to it under the right circumstances. I protect you from being in the exact right circumstances. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
God was trying to prevent Hezekiah from being in the exact right circumstances to the point where you become completely unconcerned with the kingdom, with the things of God, with just righteousness. Like, I know you at a point where, bro, your pride could get to you. You see what I'm saying? And I trying to prevent this from you. That's what I think. I think that's why God was trying to cut his time short so that he could end on a good note. And he pleaded, and God was like, bro,
No,
you
I
know,
do agree.
technically you're
I
right.
agree with that point.
Technically you're right. That you was righteous. I could give you 15 more years. But in this 15 more years, they can come with tests. They can come with trials and tribulations. He was hit with a test. These people come, you know what I mean? And he bite the bullet. You know, just no, I wouldn't even say bite the bullet. He failed the test.
You dropped the ball.
He dropped the
You dropped
ball.
the ball. Dropped the ball on day one. But like when you say something, you was like, oh, he kind of remind you of Ahaz, and I'm like, yo, there's that just goes to sinful nature, right? And I feel like you a lot of times you'll see you have some we have some like bad tendencies, and you could be like, oh, I could see how like like I might have a bad temper. Oh, I get that from my mommy, or I get that from my daddy, or I like this and I get that from my mommy, I get that from my daddy, and I'm like. I wonder if that is kind of a little kind of what we're going into here now, like just that sinful nature. He let him kind of take hold of himself too. You know what I mean?
The apple don't ever fall too far from the tree.
What's that to
Yeah.
say? But it just go to show how even the most righteous person still on the brink of falling short of the glory of God. You see what I'm saying? When we allow the things of this world, to blind us, bro. We start off talking about, it's something we mentioned when I was talking about, self-control, right? And the fruits of the spirit. Boy, sometimes you could be put in a place where it's like, bro, if I impress this Babylonian prince, boy, the allegiance that we could form, bro.
And I
You see
think
what I
that's
saying?
exactly what he was thinking. They next up.
They next up, we could be tight. Let me just show them a good time. But if I just close this thing, right, and it's like you can feel when pride driving you. A lot of times you can feel when it's like, bro, this thing. You know what I mean? And you know, this was the righteous person. But I was thinking about Lot all the time, bro. When Peter described Lot, Peter called him righteous. When we read Lot in the book of Genesis, we see a man who was living in a place where he wasn't supposed to be. He was willing to give his virgin daughters up. You see what I saying? And things of that nature. And I like, bro, this man, he seemed like a kind of wild boy to me, or at least someone who ain't got no backbone. But then Peter called him righteous, bro. And it just really showed the duality, bro. Like, even, the Bible say I think in Proverbs, it said a righteous man fall 7 times, bro. Even you could be the most righteous, bro. You could have done the most, and you could have truly good works in the eyes of God, bro. But that does not leave you exempt from sin and falling down a dark path.
Let me add one other thing because something just popped into my head, right?
You see what that man do
And
with faith?
it's and I read the last bit of verse 8, and it say, "At least there will be peace and truth in my days," right?
Mhm.
And what Another way that you could read that is um, Hezekiah is now saying, and he going through this whole process, and he he butter up with the Babylonians, and now Isaiah saying, oh yeah, y'all, like, the Babylonians gonna come, and they gonna take your sons away, and this and that, and the next. And in Hezekiah's mind, I could see how he'd be like, that means right now we could be good.
We could be good now, though, right?
We could be good enough, yeah. And so I'm like, I could see how in a lot of ways people will do things that will hurt them down the line, whether knowingly or unknowingly. They will trade a future security for security right now, and I could see how that statement is where that's coming from. So there is a, we've been getting on Hezekiah for being like evil, this and that, and his children and everything. And I could see how it might not even have to do anything with that. It could very well be like making a human judgment and saying, I am trading in a future security for security right now. I'm not trusting in God for a long term
But
security,
even like one step
but
further,
right
though,
now.
that's still a statement of pride in itself. Because here's why, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But think about like any ancient movie you was watch, right? What the king is say, oh, they will talk about this from the days of yada yada yada, that there was peace in the time of king or whatever, or king this did such a good a time. What he's saying is, bro, when the history books are written, there was peace and truth in the days of King Hezekiah. There was peace and truth. This is what the history books will read. King Hezekiah, peace and truth. Now, whatever happened in my Sundays, the history books will write, in the days of King Manasseh, the Babylonians rolled in. But during the time of King Hezekiah, there was peace. You know what I'm saying? And again, like, again, I ain't shilling for the man. I agree. I do agree with y'all point. Like, don't get me wrong, I just offering, being contrarian for a contrarian point of view. But like, man, here's the thing, like this whole story shows you that just because you have more time, don't mean you're gonna get any further anywhere else in life. Because think about it, like Nakhaz was kind of alluding to this point, right? Bro, at the end of your life, 15 years ago, you might have been closer to God than you are with the extra 15 more years. So don't think that extra time gonna get you closer to a destination. It's how you use that time effectively is what truly matters at the end of the day. Because now what you thought would have been your biggest blessing, which is 15 years added onto your life, ended up being your biggest stumbling block. And I think that's the crazy part about it, right? And so sometimes, one, you got to be careful what you pray for. You truly got to be careful what you pray for, because, boy, you just might get it.
Boy, that's the scary thing.
And that's, because, Dom, 2 episodes ago, Kazi was talking about how we pray for patience, like how we see about praying to God to work on his patience. And what God is do, send you trials like where you actually have to practice your patience. So what you pray for, you just might get. And so Hezekiah prayed earnestly to get his 15 years extra life. 15 years extra life, bro. And God grant him his wish. God grant him his prayer. And right out the gate, my boy started to fumble the bag. And I think that's the crazy part about it. Go ahead, you want to say something, guys?
Do you remember when we first started this podcast in the book of Genesis, it was blatantly obvious.
In the beginning.
It's blatantly obvious that everybody has a test.
Yep.
We see it, bro. Like, we see Cain and Abel. You say, see Adam and Eve.
You know what's so funny, right? Imagine, right? You done live like 40-something years, right? And you ain't really had a test. You pray for extra life, and you get the biggest test in your life, and you fumble. You could have gone, think about it, bro. You just successfully navigate this whole crisis with the Assyrians, bro. You do good. You stay silent. You turn to the prophet for an answer. You know what I'm saying? God gave you a message that was favorable. Good. You passed the test. And you saying, Marty, my God, that was so good. Give me 50 more years, man. Surely you can't take it from me now, Lord. Surely I've been such a good servant for you, Lord. Such a good servant. You know what I'm saying? Give me a sign. Show me a sign. You can't do this to me, Lord. God say, okay, as you wish. My boy get the rock, and boy, it straight up the gate, the ball slipped through your hands.
Straight up, bro. See, and that's the thing, bro. When Jesus was fasting for, you know how diabolical it is. Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and the devil offering him bread. You see what I said, though? You see how the devil is playing rough? Bro, he know the man fasting. I was like, you see that stone? Turn not the bread, man.
Right,
You
one
see
time.
that?
Do it for the one time.
Do it for the one time.
One time.
Bro. And so like when these tests come, when these temptations come, it don't be something that you ain't interested in. I might as well tell you now, bro. You see what I saying? It
But
could be
devil so
something
cold
that
too. He ain't even say turn it into venison, but he say turn it into bread.
turn it into bread, bro.
Not even one slice piece of turkey you throw it down.
People
No,
saying that when you're starving, but all you can think about is something.
one morsel of food.
Yeah, that's all you can think about. You know? And that's the thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Damn, God know. Hezekiah was little things in his heart, bro. Right? But guess what? I had you so preoccupied over your kingdom, you ain't even had the chance to see your true self, bro. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes God is protect us from even seeing the side of us, you know.
That's the
I
truth.
remember I remember um I remember Yana was preaching a sermon, bro, called Never Have I Ever, right? And she was talking about how Peter was so boastful about how he would never betray Jesus. I'd never betray you, right? And sometimes when we like the never have I ever, you start to think, bro, never have I ever is equal to never would I ever. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you might have never done this thing. You might have never,
opportunity to.
because you ain't never had the opportunity, you never had the catalyst to do this thing. You see what I'm saying? And that's why it's important for us not to even judge people, bro. Especially those who sin differently than us, bro.
Yeah.
Right? You might look at someone who's a thief, bro. Right? And you might say, but I hate a thief, but this and that and the third. But you might have never been in a situation where you really feel like you needed this thing worse than you needed anything in life, bro. I need this thing, bro. You see what I'm saying? And I ain't saying this because of necessity, but sometimes because of sheer pressure, bro. Like sheer like I know temptation of it, you know. And that's the thing with Peter, bro. Peter was like, Jesus tell Peter, "Cold, bro, you're gonna betray me, bro." And he's like, "But never, bro. I'm willing to die if you think I can betray you." And Jesus said, "Okay, let me lay it down for you.
Everything cool.
Not only are you gonna betray me, you're gonna betray me 2 times before you had a rooster crow twice. So basically, before the morning, it's nighttime now. Before morning break, you're gonna betray me twice, bro. You see what I saying? And you know that was a humbling experience for Peter, bro. Like if you read the Gospels, Peter was so impetuous, right? Peter, quick to talk, quick to do this and that and the third. But afterward. Like when him and Jesus and all the disciples meet up, Peter nice and humble, bro. You see what I say? Like, because you understand, Jesus, God show you who you really are, bro. And you know, sometimes we put in these in these situations, and it ain't to say that you will fail every time. Obviously, you God has given us the support and the ability through Him to overcome our challenges. You see what I'm saying? But as soon as we start to lean on our own understanding, just like the text in Proverbs, you see what I'm saying? We deceive ourselves.
Peter dread too, though. I ain't gonna lie. Peter, the little servant girl come to Peter. You know Jesus? No, bro. Hey, chill. I know him.
They start cursing out.
Hey, my second nature. No, I know him. Hey, pressure and hot outside right now. Pressure tall. Jesus, they're getting wet. Like, I know him. So I was like, yeah, but just with him, you let this week riding the town with donkey. Peter say, but I don't know what y'all talking about, you know. Everything cool, let it dead. More people say, yes, we see you, Peter, get spicy with it. Start cussing and carrying on, but I don't know him.
Yeah, it was 3 times. Yeah, he
After
did
that,
deny 3 times.
cockle-doodle-doo.
Yeah, boy.
Heart sink.
Mm.
Oh, boy. And to God's point, right, it's just It's like you never know what you're capable of until you actually put in that predicament, right? Because like again, Peter never thought he would be the one to deny knowing Jesus, but the circumstances was just right. The pressure was just tall enough, as we say, like where he was like just by second nature, just trying not to get mixed up in what's going on. He denied Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Just by not wanting to be on the stand himself, he denied Jesus. And just like, I mean, shoot, then
Can I
when
add one more?
Hezekiah, go for it?
Bro, Luke 22,
Mhm.
verse 60. But Peter said, Man, I do not know what you are talking about. And then immediately while Peter was speaking, the rooster crowed. And the Lord turned and looked at Peter.
You know, crazy this, but through the crowd, just lock eyes. I told you so.
Yeah,
Without saying it, just
yeah. He looked at him and say, Remember? Okay.
there
You
it
hear
is.
me?
Hey, I got too much. I literally have
I
too
got
much
too much
happening right
going
now.
on.
No words need to be said, but you can feel like conviction in your heart.
Yeah, bro. But continue saying Hezekiah.
But like, think about it. Like Hezekiah was on his quite literal deathbed. The prophet already just tell you, bro, get your affairs in order because you will die.
Mm.
You will not be alive. Do you think in that moment he had any pride in his heart? Like in that moment where you didn't even think you would be in a place to be prideful ever again in life. You know what I'm saying? You at your humblest, really just really earnestly begging God to extend your life. You ain't even give God a timeline. Imagine if God had just said, all right, you just get one extra day. You know what I'm saying? Like God, out of the goodness of his kind, abounding in love self, gave the man 15 more years, right? But like, think about it, right? Like in that moment, you didn't even think you would be in a place where you would even be prideful ever again in life. But yet, the first thing you do, you find yourself right after in this prideful state in this big envoy coming from the Babylonians, where you have and you're probably might like to make a military alliance with them. Surely the Syrians never gonna mess with us again. Oh, they next up. We could be in their good graces, even if they start conquering, they ain't gonna conquer us. Like you have all these things going on in your mind. Surely you're just showing them a good time. But it ain't coming from a place of where God is given the glory. Because think about it, like I think in a different chapter, it was really showing like these people really came here also because of the sign that was what was shown in the like shown in the sky.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And Hezekiah took credit for that too. And God was like, bro, how you get taking credit for that sign? That had nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's so much things and layers to them coming there that was like, yo, Hezekiah, how you get taking credit for all these things now? This your kingdom or this God's kingdom? These your riches or these God's riches? Some of these riches had nothing to do with you at all. Some of these riches was here from your forefathers' time. You just inherit this. Just so happened that you was born the son of the king that you hear. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you did some good things in your days. Yes, you restored the sacrifices. Yes, you restored which festival is I can't remember. But the
Passover.
Passover. Yes, you did these things, right? But again, you drink too much of the Kool-Aid
Yeah.
right now to start to think you are the reason these things are happening, yet you are just a vessel being used. You know what I'm saying? The honor and glory should always go back to God. This is a perfect time where you have strangers in your land who worship a foreign God and you taking the credit instead of giving the honor and glory to the one true God. This is a perfect time where you should be in a witness, glorifying how good God is. God has delivered you from the hands of the Assyrians. God has extended your life. They come in here to give you a present to hear you get well. You showing them your kingdom. You ain't saying, yeah, by the goodness of God, the one true God has extended my life 15 more years that I am now here to be able to talk to you. I was on my deathbed. I was given the death sentence, but God extended my life. None of this was happening in Hezekiah. No, not one place where God gave him this gift to be a witness was he using this gift as a witness anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to use this gift of God as his own personal treasure, as his own boastful tool. And like what Joseph says, surely what the devil meant for good, but the devil
The
meant for
devil
bad,
meant for
God meant for
evil.
good. Right now, Hezekiah trying to flip that. What God meant for good, he has started to use for bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's
all
kind of nature of it, right? Because and it's like we also got to be on God, like when we get these blessings, right? Like I joke around and saying, be careful what you pray for because you might get it, But again, it's like you got to be careful when God blesses you. Are you using it to honor and glorify Him, or are you using it to distract away from His glory? And I see you guys want to say something, so I don't want to keep on rambling. But I think that's a powerful lesson right there.
Yeah, I just want to confirm 2 Chronicles 32, however, regarding the ambassadors of the princes of Babylon, whom they sent to him to inquire about the wonder that was done in the land.
Mm-hmm.
God withdrew from him in order to test him.
Yep.
That he might know all that was in his heart.
Yeah. It's the Chronicles account. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all I got to say on the matter.
Yeah, by the grace of God, you just got to be, we just got to be humble.
Pure kind of truth.
Pure kind of truth. We got to
keep the pathfinder law.
But even God gives us gifts, God gives us blessings, but that ain't to get to our head. You see what I'm saying?
Amen.
Even in the midst of the things God give us, we still need to be humble, because sometimes God wants to show us, as well as Himself, the true desires of our heart. In this story, we learn of Hezekiah's terminal illness, where the prophet Isaiah lets him know to get his house in order because he will pass. However, Hezekiah prays to God and is granted 15 more years of life, as well as a miraculous sign from God. Soon after, envoys from Babylon visit to congratulate him, and Hezekiah proudly displays all his wealth and treasures. And because of this action, Isaiah warns Hezekiah that this act of pride will one day cause all of his treasures, as well as some of his descendants, to be taken away into Babylon. But we'll talk more about that on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your host, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.